When I started this class, I told everyone I grew up in a single parent household, which wasn't exactly true. So let me start by reintroducing myself. Hi, my name is Corgan Donovan, and my mom is a survivor of domestic violence. And in between prison visits and restraining orders, my dad did live with us. Now, before I tell you the story about how my mom was in an abusive relationship with my dad, I should tell you about their past, starting with my mom. My mom was 18 when she had me. She had dropped out of school, gotten a GED, and was working a full-time job to take care of me. With the help of her parents, of course. Well, when she turned 20, my grandpa was killed by a car falling on top of him, and she had developed depression and a serious form of anxiety, where she doesn't leave Huron because of because she is afraid of not being close enough to a hospital. My mom had developed a drinking habit, and I guess you could consider her an alcoholic. She took classes, AA, of course, and she was able to control her drinking addiction again, and was able to say she is sober for 6 years. Now, my dad, I can't tell you a whole lot about him because when he was in my life, he wasn't much of a father, but I can tell you what has formed him to what he is today. My dad was also 18 when I was born. He was sitting in jail for a possession charge. My dad is the product of rape and had never met his real dad. So had a, my dad lived with his half brother and sister and had a stepdad that was also abusive towards him and his siblings. He never told me much after that, but I know his brother died from a fall and may have had a huge impact on him. Now, my dad comes back in life every so often and is a completely different person after his last lockup. My dad is now delusional and believes the things he sees in his head. Now, now to my story. I was born November 22nd, both parents 18. Mom dropped out of and got her GED, and my dad in prison getting his GED behind bars. I have two sisters that were 2 years after me and 2 years after my other sister. At age 12, I remember seeing my dad hitting my mom for the first time. I didn't get to see it happen, but what I did see is my mom's cuts and bruises all over her body, from the two black eyes and broken nose to the stomach that was kicked. This all went down at home, but I was at a family friend's house. I was sitting in the living room when I heard my mom crying, and I hadn't seen her until the next day because her friend took me over to the neighbor's house, so I didn't have to see or hear anything. Well, I had gone with my mom to get her pictures of her face and her body done. She was wearing sunglasses and a plain long sleeve shirt and pants that covered most of her body. We were escorted by the policeman into our home to where we had little time to grab the things that we wanted, like toys and clothes and food. We had a firm grip He had a firm grip on his gun in his holster to make sure nothing had happened to us. My mom had worked at a hotel called the Comfort Inn in Huron, now called the Quality Inn. My dad had done over $1,000 worth of damages to the house and other property. While not knowing if he was going to come back at any time, we were checked into a hotel that my mom had worked at, and we were living there free of charge until she had the paperwork done to get us into a woman's home to stay for at least a week. We had stayed at a hotel for 2 days where we got to miss school and jump on the bed while my mom was working. The next time I had seen my dad actually hit my mom was when I was on the couch that overlooked the side of the house. When I heard the verbal fighting outside, I immediately found the phone and I dialed 911. While watching my dad throw my mom into the rose bush, hitting my mom with full blown punches and kicking her down while she was down. And again, my mom was left with a broken nose and bruises all over her body. I could not hit the send button because he took his last hit and he looked at me and said, "You wouldn't call the cops on your own dad, would you?" And I was scared of him. Well, our neighbors had called the cops and he was found. I didn't see him for a long time after that. It was actually until last year where we had seen each other for the first time in like 2 years. He had walked into the house as if he had belonged to the household all along. I was super hostile towards him, and long story short, I got into a fight with my dad before it happened. My mom had pushed him out of the house, and before he left, he had said, "You're not so big when I have a gun and I'm going to shoot all of you." He apologized and made little attempt to hear from him and didn't really try and hear him out at all because last time we did talk, we did fight. And the last time I seen him, he said he was working again and he won't get any help to help him with his problems. That's my story.